What's up?
What's up guys, welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to be going over how to deal with Digital Soldier Cassie Cage. Now Cassie Cage is a very strong character. She has great mids, great throw range, pretty decent damage, and Digital Soldier she has pretty decent zoning, so she's a very well-rounded character. But there's a lot of things Cassie players try to do that are actually not freaking real, actually are completely fake. But a lot of it is real at the same time, so I'm going to be going over that stuff, like the stuff that you can stop and the stuff that you really can't, that you have to respect. So first things first, it's important to know how to punish, because that's the first thing in a matchup. You want to know how to punish their stuff. So let's talk about her low fireball. Now her low fireball at like ranges like this against a good portion of the cast is not actually safe. If you're like Liu Kang or Sub-Zero, you get a nice little slide, or you got like a low sand trap like Geras, you can punish this. So let me show you an example. And if you were to flawless block the projectile, you can punish it from like even further ranges. So just know if your character is able to punish it, just test it out. Because this projectile is not that good. Like you see, even from like this range, it's like -17, -16. So a lot of characters can punish it. And then obviously up close, you know it's punishable. But where it gets a little bit hard is if you try to punish the enhanced version, because she kind of rolls back. So it makes it a little bit difficult to punish. But all you have to do is just block it, dash forward, and punish. And you can actually OS both options. It's not a mix-up between whether she does the regular one or the enhanced version. Whether she does one or the other, you can always punish both. Alright, so the next thing you want to punish is the up glow kick. Now obviously the glow kick by itself is -28. Of course that's punishable. What's hard is the enhanced version. If you block it normally, it's -4, but it does have a flawless block gap. And it's actually, again, it's not a mix-up. You can punish both the regular version and the flawless block version at the same time. All you gotta do is go for the flawless block timing. If you flawless block it, you punish with your stand 1-1, for example with Geras. And if they don't do the enhanced version, you still press your stand 1-1 at the same timing and you still get the punish. So yeah, anytime Cassie goes for those two, just practice the option select to punish both options. You always get a free punish. Now of course, just so you know, her back one, that is unsafe, -11. If she goes for the full combo, that's always unsafe, always -11. Now good Cassies are not going to be doing that, but maybe sometimes they try to whiff punish you by mistake and they thought you whiffed something but you didn't, or they misspaced it or whatever, then you can get a punish. Just know it's -11. Your fastest stand jab, whether it's 7 frames, 8 frames, it's going to be a punish. Alright, so now let's talk about these strings right here, her best mids, her forward 4-1-2 and her back 2-4-3. Now both these strings, they both end in a high attack, which basically means, like for example with this string, if you were to duck it, you can get it down to crushing blow. Now at first glance, it seems to be a mix-up to whether or not, are they going to go for the high, it leaves them safe if they block, are they going to go for the glow kick, are they going to go for the gun cancel, blah blah blah. When it comes to the back 2-4 string, all that stuff you can OS. You can OS every single option except if they go for like this into low shot. That's when it becomes a guess, but let me explain to you why. Now if you look at the bottom left, you can see the frame data for all the moves. So you can see the last hit comes out in 16 frames. So that means the part that's a high comes out in 16 frames. So that comes out in 16 frames, and if you notice her glow kick, it comes out in 11 frames. So what does that mean? All you have to do is just block, like after you do this mid, block until like frame 11. So that means you would block this, then you have 5 frames to duck, which basically means 5 frames you have to unblock so you can duck the high part. So basically that OS means you were able to block this move and you know how to punish it. I just showed you you can punish both options and duck this at the same time. Now maybe a little bit confusing me mentioning the frame data, whatever. It basically means you have like a 5-frame gap to unblock. You just have to practice it, right? You just have Cassie do this or have Cassie do that and just practice OSing both options. And also Cassie can't do much else either, because if she tries to go into the high shot, that's a high. You could do the same OS, you can just duck it. And you can actually react as well. If you like do that timing, reacting, option selecting, and if you duck and you don't see the last hit come out, then you just press poke, because that will stop Cassie from like doing this like fake gun pressure into another poke. It will stop her from doing a stagger into a poke. It would be all those options. The only thing it would not be is if Cassie does into the low shot. Reason being, the low shot is 15 frames. And because it's 15 frames and the last hit of this is 16 frames, that's basically way too close. You're not gonna OS anything that's like 1 frame apart like that. So when it comes to that, it's a legit mix-up. Now, good Cassie players, they're not just gonna go straight into this, especially once you sow them, you're able to punish it, because that's a full combo punish. They have to be kind of like wacko to do that, but they can do that like in a situation where they're about to lose and they see you're going for that OS, or they see you're always reacting with poke or whatever. So just be aware they can do that. There's no real OS for it, but it depends on the player. Like, option selects are not meant to cover everything. Well, sometimes they can depending on the situation, but just know that's the one way the Cassie can beat that. Or the Cassie player can just stagger this, let you poke for example, and then they can take back their turn. Or maybe if you try to respond with the mid, they can flawless block your mid, but that's basically all she can do. For the most part, if they go for this, it is your turn guaranteed. And it's actually even better for you if they go for the forward 4 stagger, because this also ends in a high. But check this out, the high comes out in 22 frames, so that means you can do the same principle and even OS the low shot. So what do? You basically just block this, you block until the same timing the low shot would hit you, and then you have 7 frames to duck before this part hits you. So basically you could OS every single option with the forward 4 string, but like I said, the only thing they can do is perhaps block your poke back in response, or try to flawless block your poke. But let me show you how that looks. So you can just practice what I showed you for that string. Just remember, for the back 2 string, that is a legit mix-up if they go for the low shot. So for this string, I would practice OSing this and OSing this. Alright, so I want to talk about her auto shimmy. Now, Cassie has a good auto shimmy like a lot of other characters. Auto shimmies are basically ways to bait out throws. If you don't know what an auto shimmy is, I'll have a link to the video on the top right. So basically, Cassie's auto shimmy is her 1-1-1. But her auto shimmy is actually not all that good. As you can see, it's -8. So any character that has a 7 frame high starter or string or whatever can get a full combo punish on her every single time. Or at the very least, every character can get a poke punish on her. So that's good to know. So if Cassie's like to abuse this on block and not try to mix it up at all, it's a free punish for you. Now, you're not going to be able to OS Cassie doing this into like glow kick or just staggering this. You're not going to be able to punish both options. Because in order to punish this, you have to press right away, because she's only -8. And if you press right away, you are vulnerable to like getting hit by this, getting hit by like the glow kick or whatever. But again, remember, that's a risk for Cassie, because if Cassie goes for any of those options, she can be punished. So basically, every time she goes for an auto shimmy, it's basically a 50-50. Are you going to punish her for just staggering it by itself, or are you going to punish one of the follow-ups she does? Now, the only thing Cassie can do to kind of keep herself safe, because they buffed the flip out move, she can do something like this. And that's actually pretty hard to punish. I mean, look at that. She's only -1. Even if she does a close one, she's like -4. Like, the only way to actually punish that, you have to jump right away, hit him with your best, like jumping normal and get a combo, or you have to dash up, flawless block the shot, and hope your flawless block up 2 is good enough to reach Cassie. Now, Gearus is lucky enough to be able to do both those things, but let me show you how that looks. So I would say for your character, just find a way to punish it. Now, granted, the only person I've ever seen actually doing that is Samij, because that man's a smart player, man. He's really freaking good. but like just find your way to punish it. I'm sure each character has some kind of way they can punish it, whether it be flawless block, maybe like Sub-Zero could probably slide to avoid the shots. I don't know, like every character has a way. I'm sure you just gotta find it. Now let's talk about some of her flawless block gaps, which she only has one. This one right here, and that's it. I mean, you're never gonna see a Cassie really go for this. I mean, I've never seen it. I mean, I never do it. I mean, this normal is kind of good. I mean, it's a 19 frame mid or whatever. It's kind of slow as hell, to be honest. But like, just so you know, if they try to go for that, she does get plus frames, so you want to make sure you flawless block that. And just so you know what her plus frames are, her stand 1 is +1. Pretty much your turn because he has a 9 frame mid unless you got a good poke. But the thing with that is, it's kind of hard to jail with just stand 1, so most Cassies won't do that. But her good plus frame is her stand 4. Her stand 4 is +3. So like if you're in the corner and she runs up to you and does it, I mean, it isn't high, so you can duck it if you predict it. But like if you block it, then you have to hold it because again, she has a 9 frame mid. You're not going to beat that, so you do got to deal with it. Now I want to talk about her high shot cancels, and that's basically whenever she tries to go for this. Under no circumstances is Cassie Cage ever safe when she goes for that cancel. Under no circumstances. Like if she does anything, she's minus. She does this, she minus. Tries to do this, -22. She does this, like -17. This, -22. Goes to the full auto shimmy, -19. Doesn't matter what strings he does, the best she can be is -16. But in all cases, she is punishable. And remember, there is nothing to fear from this. What are you scared of? It's a high attack. At the worst case, like you can just duck it. You can duck the shot. So there's nothing to be scared of when Cassie tries to cancel this. Just know it's a total fake mix-up under any circumstances, and you can always punish it with a poke for free. That's the easiest punish. Hell, you can punish it like with a mid and stuff if you react fast enough. But that's just so you know. And the last thing about Cassie that's actually legit is her Abare situations. And if you don't know what an Abare situation is, I will link to a video to it on the top right. But basically, it's a situation to where you put yourself in the position, even if you're a little bit minus or a little bit plus, you can't obviously take back your turn because you're completely out of poke range and usually out of like your best mid range. So for Cassie, that's her forward 4 stagger and her 1-1 stagger. Like look at that, like the spacing is so good, like you're completely out of poke range. So what does that mean? Like even though I'm minus, let's say the Gearus player tries to dash up and go for a mid to take back their turn, all I gotta do is do a little bit of a backdash. I can get a whiff punish. And the fact that Gearus, for example, has to dash up to get a punish on me, when you dash, it takes some frames to dash. So by the time he dashes up on me, I have plenty of time to do something to stuff him. You know, I can press 1-1-1, I can do my mid or whatever. But of course, Gearus has his own options after this. If he believes I'm gonna go for like another mid, he can just back up and whiff punish me. So that's basically what an Abare is. It's like a wheel of options. So like Cassie's like to do this, like at least I did when I played Cassie. I love to stagger this, and it was always a mix-up because this stagger is actually really good because you have to immediately always block overhead, and every time you have to like stand up to block overhead, that takes back from your time to react to the stagger itself. Because you're devoting some of your reaction time to remembering, oh, I gotta stand up and block the overhead. So that makes the stagger really good. So it's always a mix-up what Cassie's gonna do. Like she can do this, like dash up grab, she can do this, dash up mid. And if you like react to that and you realize, oh, Cassie's gonna be dashing up and doing something, then you can just start mashing buttons to punish Cassie. But then the Cassie player can read that, for example, they can establish that they like to dash up on you. Then they could actually just not dash up on you. They can just stay where they're at, just do a little, you know, just step back a second. You can see them trying to do their mid or trying to do their 1-1-1 to try to stop you from advancing, and then bam, you can get a whiff punish. So that's what Cassie's able to do with this mid. And like the best way to deal with it is just honestly, you gotta make the right read. That's all it really is. The safest option, of course, is to back up, and if the Cassie player were to try to advance with a mid, you're already backed up, you're making them whiff, they're hitting the air. I don't know why they're hitting the air didn't do nothing to them, and you can get a whiff punish on them. And just know Cassie has that situation off her 1-1, she has it off her forward 4 stagger, and she kinda has it off this, because this is actually like 0 on block. It's kinda crazy. I had no idea this was 0 on block until today. I was like, huh? So this is actually like a really good stagger as well. And again, you're out of poke range and like, you know, you're 0, so that's legit. anybody's game. And if you're Cassie Cage with a 9 frame mid, it's usually your turn. Now of course you can backdash the mid, blah blah blah, but that's basically what an Abare is. You just have to make the right read in the situation, you know, whether you back up to whip punish, whether you press, disrespect, or whatever. And honestly, that's about it with dealing with Cassie Cage. And you know, I mainly focused on Digital Soldier because that's what most people use. And honestly, when it comes down to Yas Queen, there's no difference. The only thing in Yas Queen, you can punish a tackle, it's -12. And if they do the orb attack, their combo starter, they're super minus. So basically it's the same thing, just Digital Soldier has like a little bit more to it because he has a zoning and everything. But yeah, just basically know your punishes, practice punishing this, practice punishing both options of this, know how to deal with the OS with this, the OS with this, practice how to punish, you know, the flip out move with your character, practice punishing the auto shimmy. So yeah guys, that's about it for the video today. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, follow me on Twitch, and I'll see you guys next time.